Okay, good evening. I know that several of you are on right now, and I think we've got this going on Facebook Live right now too. So I want to let you know that you can click on the area where it says chat and feel free to, if you have any questions at the bottom, it says chat. I think it's at the bottom of your screen. It'll say chat. Feel free to ask any questions or anything like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to get started on this. So let me share my screen with you. And here we go. So today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about muscle testing, manual muscle testing. Now, I'm Dr. Bill Sopchak here at the Sopchak Natural Health and Wellness Center, for those of you who don't know who I am. Today, one of the things that we're going to talk about is manual muscle testing because we do a lot of this in our office. So the overview of tonight's session is going to look like this. We're going to start off with the history, then we're going to go into what is NRT, or nutritional response testing, what is kinesiological manual muscle testing, how does it work, how do we use it in our office, and finally we're going to do a little review on it. So just so you know, that's how the webinar is going to go tonight. So I want you to know, first of all, that the person who is kind of responsible for the kinesiological muscle testing is Dr. George Goodhart. I was fortunate enough to be able to not just meet him, but I've been to some of his seminars. He's a great guy. In 1964, Dr. Goodhart made the first correlation between finding a weak muscle and using manual muscle testing, and then using chiropractic therapy to make it stronger. Where the place that I learned was not from him, in fact, but where I learned most of mine was from a technique that was originally came from a Dr. Richard Versendahl. Where I first learned was from Dr. John Brimhall in his 10 Steps to Wellness protocol, which started back in, I believe I started that in 2003. And I was just looking for more. I was trying to help people who came in who were having problems with blood pressure, who were having problems with heartburn, indigestion, diabetes, things like that, that I wasn't able to necessarily make major pathways just doing chiropractic adjustments. And so I was looking for a whole nother wellness approach. So I then, right after that, I started learning something called nutritional response testing from Dr. Freddie Ullin. And over the past 17 plus years, I've had multiple different mentors that I've learned a lot of different information from nutritionally, as well as taking other courses all the time. So we use manual muscle testing, and it's kinesiological or manual muscle testing, depending on how you look at it, but we use it as a barometer to evaluate the integrity of the energy flow of the various meridian points or reflex points. And the picture that you see to your right is kind of gives you an idea of where we start looking for some of these points, because they're associated with different organs, glands, muscles, and other reflex points. But we're able to do this without penetrating the skin or doing any kind of invasive techniques. So if you touch one of these reflex points, it can monitor the integrity of the energy of that specific reflex point by challenging it with a muscle test. So in other words, I touch the point, I muscle test, and if the muscle stays strong, then depending on how many pulses I get out of the muscle tells me how strong the muscle should be. And it should be able to pulse it anywhere from 10 to 15 times. And if it doesn't, then that tells me that there's a problem. It doesn't give me a problem like there's a disease or anything. It just tells me that there's an inadequacy and there's a problem. So that's what I just told you. It's not a disease. It's only an understanding that the system is energetically imbalanced. So for example, if the liver tests weak, it doesn't mean you have hepatitis or cirrhosis or something like that. What it does mean is that it's associated with an energetic imbalance, and it might require some kind of strengthening or repair or cleansing or some sort of nutritional help. Muscle testing in our office, what we do is we utilize multiple different things. Nutrition is one way to provide missing dietary nutrients. So we can use all kinds of different nutrients. Most of what we use here is standard process or MediHerb because it's organically grown, cold processed, and it is a whole food. So it's not something that is synthetic. And if you're interested in getting a little more information on that, all you have to do is go onto our website, sopchakchiro.com. Go up to the upper area, click on videos. And one of the videos I did in their webinars was called Can Taking Vitamins Kill You? And we explain a lot about the difference between whole food nutrients as well as other synthetic or crystalline. Something else that we can do to strengthen that weakened system is use lifestyle modifications to unburden the physiology, or use chiropractic adjustments to enhance the nervous tone and the energy reaching those tissues. Because sometimes, because the nerves coming out of the spine, going to those organ systems, if that communication pathway is broken down, then those points can be weak for that reason as well. Acupuncture is another way to help remove blockages of normal energy flow through these meridian pathways. And finally, mind-body therapies. So we tend to talk a lot about physical, chemical, and emotional. And when we look at chemical, that's nutrition, that's toxins, that's all kinds of burdens. Acupuncture is another way that physically help that go. And the things that we talk about are thoughts. Lindsay Sadowski has a place that's called Total, T-O-A-D-A-L, Total Positivity in Willoughby. She does the NET, which is called Neuro-Emotional Technique, which is great for helping the body to release things called issues in the tissues. So she would be a great person. She worked with us for quite a while, and she's on her own and doing a great job over there. So she would be a great person to help you with that as well. Now, muscle testing utilizes the nervous system's upper motor pathways. So what it does is it's theorized that when the body is challenged, that this system is weakened, and that results in widespread muscle weakness. So whatever muscle I test, it doesn't matter which one, if I put my hand on that reflex point, it's going to make it weak. And so these type A muscle fibers are what is utilized, and contraction or trying to hold your arm up, for example, requires quite a bit of energy. And so if your body energy point whatever the reflex point that I touched is weak, it just completely shuts the body down. And so this is why this type of stress on the system can weaken the muscles. Now, we're going to demo this in a couple of seconds. I brought my son Matthew in here so that he could help us out, just so you could kind of get an idea of how it works. So I can evaluate organs, glands, and muscles, different systems, just by touching reflex points and evaluating it using a muscle. And typically I like to use the shoulder. So I'll have somebody hold their arm out and I'll push down. You know, I can do other muscles. It really doesn't matter. It just tends to be kind of easier for me. But when I find a weakened system, I evaluate what nutrient might work best to restore the energy in that system. And it can be a lot. I mean, for example, there are so many different things. I brought some supplements out here. But like, for example, for the adrenal glands, there might be 8 different products that I have here at the office that are needed for the adrenal glands. And how do I know exactly which one meshes with the body or helps the body function better? I don't, unless I can test it. So otherwise I'm guessing. And that's why I like to do this kinesiological muscle testing, is because it helps me to get exactly what your body needs, not guessing on what I think it might need. So what we do is we place the nutrient tester up against the person's energy field while we're hitting that reflex point. And if it strengthens it or makes it strong, then we know that we're in good shape, and that's the right thing to do. I just talked about that. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk just a little bit here. I'll just tell you that sometimes people say to me, give me a break. How can putting a bottle of nutrients against somebody make you stronger? And this is the biggest resistance that I tend to have from people, because they don't understand that we are energy, and the nutrients or anything in our physical realm is energy. And if we place that energy field up against our body, it's either going to harmonize with it, or it's going to cause a problem. And so the way I like to explain it best is, if you've ever stood in front of a window when the sun is out, even if it's snowing and there's snow on the ground, do you feel the energy, the heat coming through the window? Well, it's the same thing. The nutrients have energy, and it can go right through the bottle. Now, you're not going to necessarily hold that bottle in your pocket, and that's not going to fix things. You still have to take the nutrient, but this is kind of how it works. Now, at this point, what I'm going to try to do, and I'm not sure exactly, to be honest with you, because I know I'm pretty sure that everybody can see a small screen of me right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can make this screen bigger, so that, there we go. Can somebody just tell me if the screen got bigger for you guys in the chat box? Can you just tell me if it got bigger so you can see it better? No, it didn't. So I'm still the same small little guy in the upper. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Helps if I put my glasses on. Thanks, Sherry. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring Matthew over here. Come here, Matthew. This is my son, Matthew. This is my son, Matthew. And you don't have your phone on you, right? Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you guys an idea. I'm going to test some of the different points that I tend to go through. And I'm probably going to do most of a scan on him real quick, just so you can see what it looks like. Come here. So the first thing I always do, step just a little closer, is I want to make sure that he's got a strong arm. So I just test it, which is good. And then I'm going to check to make sure that he's testable. I want to make sure that his body is capable of testing. So I check a couple of different points. Now there's some areas where it's supposed to go weak. So anytime you take your hand and you place it over a hole, whether it's your eye, your nose, your mouth, your ear, anytime you place it over, it's going to drop your body weak. It's just how the body works. And as soon as I do that, he has no strength, which is perfect because it's supposed to be that way. Now take these two fingers and put them together. Hold. Good. Now do it on this hand. Good. Now, each time I tested this, those were strong. That means that he's testable and he's not switched. So I'm going to go through a scan, and I'm going to start back here. I'm just going to say them. So hopefully I'm going to turn just a little bit so you can see. This is back of brain, top of brain, front of brain. So front of brain is weak. Sinus, eye, sinus, maxilla, mandible, tonsil, parathyroid, thyroid, pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, male hormones, hydration, allergy, sleep. So he's apparently not sleeping great. Lung, thymus, heart, spleen, pancreas, stomach, gallbladder, liver, small intestine, large intestine. So every time his arm goes weak, that means that there's a problem with that system. You think that he should be doing great here because he's my kid, right? Well, everybody, depending on what is going on in your life, how his day went, may change some things, but overall, we're looking for any kind of major weaknesses here. Nutrition is a major point here. Adrenals, kidneys, large intestine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a few different bottles. I just want you to see how I'm going to do this. I grabbed bottles. I assumed that he would have some weaknesses. So I grabbed some for his liver and his adrenals, because I'll be honest with you, with stress in this world, everybody's adrenals are trashed, and pretty much everybody needs help with their adrenals. And because of all the toxins that are in the air, toxins in the bad foods that we're eating, pretty much everybody needs help with their liver as well. So I'm going to just start with, I grabbed a bunch of different bottles, and we're just going to test and see which one of these might make his adrenal glands stronger. So I got my hand right on his adrenals. Step forward here. I don't know if you can see where my hand is, like right here. And so you read it. No, it's a adrenal desiccated. Hold. That doesn't help him. Let's try this one. That's wormwood. That doesn't help him. That's not good for the adrenals anyways. Rhodiola ginseng. Nope. This is adrenal complex. Nope. This is Rhodiola schisandra. It's the one I'm taking. This one is Eleuthero. Nope. So every time I put these up against him, in that none of these are working. Here's Cataplex C. A little bit, but not so much. Hold. And this is Drenamin. And when I push now, he's totally strong. If I take that off and I go push here, I can push this down with one little finger. I mean, he's got no strength at all. As soon as I put this Drenamin in this field, he's totally strong. So Drenamin is something that he would want to take for that area. We also talked about, well, actually, I didn't tell you this one, but I just want to show you what vitamin D is like. I have several different types of vitamin D, and I don't ever know which vitamin D is going to work for which person. So this vitamin D is a 5,000 IUs of vitamin D, which pretty much everybody needs right now, especially with COVID, especially with the winter and everything. Everybody pretty much needs about 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. So if I put this up against his body, This one's not showing very well. That's a good thing to know because you were taking that. This one is a different type. This is a spray. This one is vitamin D3 also, but it also has K2 in it. And when I put this up, now see, this is totally good. So I have to change this at home because I haven't checked him in about a month now. So he needs to switch to the different D. Thanks, Matthew. So that's pretty much what I wanted to go over with you guys, is give you an idea of what muscle testing is, how it works. Let's get you back to, let's see if we can get back to that other screen again. Okay, so if the energy that's missing, okay, if we're missing some sort of energy, whatever I put on him and it didn't match the energy that was needed, then his body would stay weak. But if that energy of whatever that product was exactly what was needed, in his case, the Drenamine for his adrenal glands, if it matched exactly what his body needed, then it upregulated and his arm tested strong. So now realize that carrying the nutrients in your body isn't going to upregulate your system, because it's just something that's telling me that that's what your body needs, but it's not actually going to help your body to upregulate that organ system unless you actually take it. So this is how we work with nutrition in our office. And again, we use a specific individualized nutrition response testing to help upregulate your system. Now, how do we use muscle testing for chiropractic adjustments? In our office, when a new patient comes in, we do a pretty extensive initial evaluation. It takes about 90 minutes. There's a lot of different things that we do, including nutrient testing and some other things. And it gives me an idea of what's going on, not just from the history, but I also can see through the computer analysis that we do what's going on with the nervous system as well. When we begin adjusting patients, for the past, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years now, I've expanded to utilizing that manual muscle testing in order to see exactly what segments the body wants me to use, and oftentimes in what position and what range to move it in. So if you think of a circuit breaker, and if the breaker flips, it's because there was an overload of that particular circuit. So I like to liken what's called a subluxation, or a breakdown in that nervous system being able to communicate with the body to tell it how to function, like a breaker switch. Because when the breaker switch goes off, there's no more communication, and there might not be no more communication when your body is subluxated, but what happens is there's a reduced amount of energy flow going to that organ, gland, or blood vessel, wherever it's going. So if that energy flow through that specific spinal segment is interrupted or interfered with in some way, it affects the energy that flows through that spinal segment. That's pretty much what I said, only it's probably sounded a little better that way. So if I utilize the same approach as I do for the nutritional response testing, if I restore the energy pathway or remove the interference, then that retested muscle becomes, the retested muscle actually becomes strong after we've fixed it. So not only when I'm doing the muscle testing do I find out what segments your body wants me to use, but oftentimes based on all the experience I've had over the last 28 plus years, there's other things that I factor in as well. So I don't use that only as my only way of knowing how to move and how to help your body to function better. And I feel that the results that we've been getting since we've been doing this type of work has been very, very rewarding, and been getting great results. So to review, muscle testing helps to show off or light up areas of the system weakness or interference. So we're able to find through muscle testing areas that are weak or where there's interference. These areas can be upregulated physically, nutritionally, or emotionally through lifestyle and other means. So there's something that we can do in order to help upregulate the body. And then we're able to then personalize nutritionally or treatment-wise a specific protocol exactly for what your body wants, not for what I'm guessing that your body might want. Muscle testing does not tell me whether you have a disease. I'm not looking, when I muscle test, again, and I check and I find a weak organ, it doesn't say, oh, well, you've got this, this disease. So in any case, I hope that you learned something. I told you guys it was going to be a short one tonight. I want to thank you for coming. I hope you have a great night. Here's our email. If you have any questions, you can actually put them in the chat box. If you have questions, I'm going to open that up in a second here. Let's see, that would be right. There's the chat box. Okay, maybe it's not going to let me open it. All right. So, anyways, Concord Wellness 230 is our at Gmail is our office email address. Our phone number is 352-0444. As I told you before, sopchakchiro.com is our website. And now I'm going to stop sharing this screen and see what if you guys have any questions. So, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to type something in the chat box. If not, I will look forward to seeing you guys again, and I'll say have a great night. So I'll give it a second to see if there's anything in the chat box, and then we'll go from there. Let me check the Q&A too. All right, looks like, oh, you're welcome, Gail. Looks like we're gonna close down then. Hopefully you guys from this get a better understanding of what we do here and how the muscle testing or kinesiological muscle testing works and why we do it. And so anyways, have a great night. God bless, and I'll see you soon.